Before we start, just a quick reminder. The views and content shared on this podcast are for entertainment purposes only and are not a substitute for professional advice. Please check the full disclaimer in the show notes for more information.
Welcome to Self-Centered, the podcast that's all about you. We're your hosts.
I'm Allie, a therapist and life coach.
And I'm Katie, a fitness coach and personal trainer. We know what it's like to feel burnt out, taken for granted, and like your life revolves around everyone but yourself.
By learning to trust yourself, prioritize your needs, and set healthy boundaries, we help you break free from guilt, overfunctioning, and toxic patterns that keep you stuck in relationships and a life that doesn't truly serve you.
Join us each week as we dive into the tools, stories, and mindset shifts you need to create a life that centers you.
Because being self-centered isn't selfish, it's essential. Today, we are going to talk about those uncomfortable moments where you get feedback, someone else's truth that just does not sit well with you. It doesn't feel good. Maybe it makes you feel angry. Maybe it makes you feel shame. Maybe it makes you feel guilty, and it's just eating away at you. And now you're just so down on yourself. Maybe you're triggered. Defensive. Yeah. So we just want to talk to you about those moments and kind of give you like a little pep talk around that. So we want to say this with our whole hearts. You got two whole hearts. You are not a bad person, right? Whatever they're saying to you, you are not a bad person. Even if they're saying you're a bad person, right? If they're saying you're a bad person, that doesn't mean it's true. But also I would be really careful about how much you take in what someone who's, attacking your character and shaming you is saying. But if this is a situation where they're truth-telling and they're sharing their experience and they're saying, hey, when you said this, it made me feel this way and it wasn't a good way, you might go right to, oh my God, I'm awful. I'm the worst. So we want you to know you are not a bad person. You are not broken. And if part of the reason this is triggering is because there is this little voice inside that's like, oh, I know I need to work on that, right? You're not beyond healing.
Yeah.
You can work on that. It's okay to acknowledge that for yourself, right? There's a difference between guilt and shame. Go listen to that episode. We talk about it. And the reason we talk about it is because guilt is a really healthy emotion, right? Guilt, when it's justified, when it fits the facts of the situation, it is telling you that you did something, your behavior was not in alignment with your values. And it's really healthy to feel guilty and recognize, hey, this is justified. And it does not have to snowball into shame. It does not have to snowball into, so that means you're a bad person. You're not a bad person. You're human. You're gonna make mistakes. You're going to do your best with the best information that you have at the time based on your level of personal evolution, self-awareness, emotion regulation, communication skills. Like, you're going to do your best and you're going to miss the mark sometimes. You're human. And so it's okay for you to be with that guilt and then think to yourself, okay, well, how can I repair the harm done with this person? And you can even ask them. And how do I live in alignment with my values? Because what led to that behavior might need some more reflection, might need to learn some skills around, okay, well, how do I deal with these feelings when they come up so that I don't behave in that way, right? And doing that work doesn't mean anything negative about you. It actually means that you're courageous for being able to sit with that truth and work on it.
Someone might bring an offense or a behavior that caused them harm to you. And obviously you might feel guilt or shame and feel uncomfortable about that. Mm-hmm. And there might not be an ability to repair.
That's
and
true.
that still does not mean that you're a bad person.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, totally. And I've been there. Yeah. I have regrets. Mm-hmm. And it hurts my heart that I can't repair it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we can still use that information.
Yes.
To inform.
Say, yeah. What's the lesson here? How do I do it differently next time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the other thing. If someone gives you feedback and you have a big internal reaction to it and you can tell that you want to just avoid it or invalidate them or whatever, you can actually pause and you can say to them, hey, thank you so much for telling me. I'm going to reflect on this and take some time with it because this matters a lot to me. And then I'm going to follow up with you. And that gives you the time to come down, have your reaction, work through it, and really reflect.
You know, something that I have observed recently is you don't always even have to have an interaction with a person. It could be just information that's shared to you. There are times it doesn't even have to be a person having a conversation with you. It could be something that you hear.
Yes.
And that immediate defense and that wall goes up.
Right.
And you want to kind of attack back against it.
Because like part of you is like, oh shit, I can relate to that. I see that in me and I don't want to see that in me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And like okay. You might even feel that with the podcast at times.
Yeah,
that's
true.
We might share things from the podcast that, whether they're experiences that you can see yourself in or ways of thinking or core beliefs that you're like, oh, wait, but I believe that. And they're saying that that's not a great ideology or belief or that's could be improved. And now you want to immediately start rattling off defenses of, oh, well, that can't be this because of that, and that.
Yeah. This can bring up feeling seen in a way that you're not ready to feel seen or to see yourself even, or things can feel like an attack when they're not meant that way, you know? And it makes sense that you might feel that based on those belief systems that you have. And some of what we say can be really hard because the truth can feel sharp when we've spent a long time trying to protect ourselves from it, especially if you've had to survive with difficult dynamics, painful relationships, or environments where love is conditional or confusing. So you're like, okay, in order for me to be lovable or to be capable, a good enough person, I need to have these conditions. I need to follow these conditions of worth. I need to be successful enough in whatever way. I need to hide things about me that I think people would think less of me for. So I'm protecting. And then we say something on the pod blows open that protection. It's like, oh my God, that is me. And I don't want to see that about me because that makes me feel like I'm not good enough. But shame is always lying to you, you know, and you can work through that shame. So defense mechanisms will kick in when you've experienced love being conditional. And even just living in a society where there's these conditions of worth, this can kick in on any part of the spectrum, right? It could be super intense, or it could be like this little piece of you that you're like, oh, okay, I gotta be aware of it, take care of that. This is why other people's boundaries might feel like rejection, right? When people share, oh, I have this boundary, it's like, oh, you go immediately to, oh, see, I wasn't lovable. They don't want me. I'm being abandoned. I'm being rejected. And their clarity of what they need, that boundary to protect themselves, might feel like criticism. So you're responding with, well, you're being oversensitive and I'm not being XYZ. And they didn't even say that you were being XYZ, right? Your mind said that because of the way you're interpreting it through this lens of shame. So here's what I want to say. If you hear things on the radio, on our podcast from other people and their feedback, and it stirs something from within you, just ask yourself, wait a second, maybe this shame is lying to me, and maybe they didn't mean to shame me, but maybe something inside me is waking up. Maybe there's this part of me that already knows that I don't have to live in shame. I don't have to walk through life feeling fragile, feeling insecure. I don't have to feel stuck in these same emotional patterns or belief systems. And I'm doing the best that I can with what I know. Of course, there's nothing wrong with me doing the best I can with what I know. And there's another way. I can keep learning. And that way does not require me to shut down or disappear or get defensive or hide or get angry and say things that I regret and that harms relationships with people that I love. There's a way to move forward that lets you feel confident in your relationships, that feels emotionally safe in your own skin and proud of how you show up, even in conflict. And a way where you can be deeply loved and deeply honest. where you finally feel free. You feel like yourself. You know who you are. You're sitting in your seat. You're centered. You're your youest you, your biggest potential of you. I also want to say, of course, you have agency. You don't have to change anything. You get to choose what your journey looks like. But if something that we've said today resonates with you, even if it stings, maybe that's your nervous system saying, there's something here for me. I could feel better than this. I could feel more connected, more grounded, more whole. And if that whisper is there, you don't have to ignore it. You can listen to this and be like, oh, and then I'm going to go back to avoiding for a little bit because that feels safe for me. And then I'm going to come back out. I'm going to re-listen. You can take your time with it. But we just really want to help you recognize the shame that gets triggered for you so that you can stop letting it color your world.
Yeah.
Because it's no way to live.
So I'm a person who struggles and hates confrontation. I'll do it if I have to. But damn, I don't want to. It takes a lot of offenses for me to start to speak up about some stuff. And I'm working on that because, the sooner we do that, the sooner we can repair. And that's the fucking point. If someone is bringing something to you that was an offense to them, there's a possibility they just need to get it off their chest and that they don't want to repair, which is what we said at the beginning, that you're not a bad person, even if there is no opportunity for repair. And it's also totally possible that they actually do want to repair it. Mm-hmm. And they're saying this to you because they do believe that you're a good person, because they love and they value you, and they want to continue to have a healthy and great relationship with you. Whether that's, a family member, a friend, a coworker, a loved one, whatever it is. It takes courage to share offenses. Mm-hmm. It takes courage to receive offenses with grace. Mm-hmm. And it builds such a strong bridge when you do and when you can create repair. If you can put your focus, like if you're receiving difficult feedback or if you are hearing something that is stirring up really uncomfortable feelings of shame within you, if you can put your focus on what will this relationship or this action or this behavior or this version of myself look like when I've repaired this, and use that as your glimmer of hope to sit through the discomfort and to hold space for someone else's experience and for your experience and your growth through it, that can really give you the strength to not get defensive and to not shut down and to hold an opportunity for a better day.
Yeah, for sure. What I hear you saying is that when someone comes to you and gives you feedback, it's because they care about you and value the relationship. Otherwise, they wouldn't go through the trouble of bringing up that feedback. And so actually, when you're hearing feedback from someone about you, even if it's negative because it's, this thing caused harm, the goal of it is to get to the other side of it where you've healed the harm. You've repaired the harm, and they believe and want to do that with you. They're not coming to you to attack your character or say you're a bad person. They're actually coming to you because they value you and they care about you and they think you're a good person. Otherwise, they would not come to you. I also want to say how normal it is to have ruptures in relationships. And what the research shows is that it actually doesn't really matter how many ruptures happen as long as there's repair. Of course, repair that is consistent. If it's the same rupture over and over again that you keep quote unquote repairing, that's not a true repair. So how do you repair the harm done and then prevent that future harm from happening again is what the repair is. But that's normal. And also, when relationships have ruptures and then experience repairs, the relationship is better after than it was before, because that creates trust, that creates a bond of, I know we can have these hard conversations. I know that we can talk through these things. When things come up in life and it's hard, it's uncomfortable, and I have to say these things that I know might bring something up in you, I know that you can handle it. And so I trust that we can really get through anything. So it actually really strengthens the relationship and the bond. And if you feel like your relationships aren't as close as you want them to be, and they don't feel so meaningful or fulfilling, it might be because you haven't yet been able to move through that shame in order to repair those very normal ruptures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just want to normalize that. There's nothing weird about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's some pod practice, things that you can do to start beginning the journey if and when you're ready, being able to respond to feedback or these triggers that bring up shame in a way that actually can move you through the shame and into more clarity and responding to the situation in a way that actually repairs that rupture so that you can feel better about yourself and not feel so overtaken by the shame monster. And your relationships can continue to be close and positive and feel really good. So start noticing your reactions, right? Pause. Okay, I'm having a reaction. And remember that you can always say, if it's feedback that they're giving you, you can always say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me. I'm going to get back to you. I really want to reflect on this. You do not have to respond right away. And if they have a tough time hearing that because they want to talk about it right away, you can say, hey, I really need to reflect to get clarity. And this matters so much to me. And the way that you feel matters so much to me that I really want to do this diligence. I want to do this right. It's okay for you to pause. And I encourage you to pause. And so you notice this reaction, you pause, you take the time, and you tell yourself that it is okay. Normalize it. Yep. This is coming up for me. Nothing is wrong or weird with me. That shame's coming up. Guess what? Everyone has it. On some level, everyone has it. And the less of it they have, just the further along they are in the journey. And everyone had to start somewhere, right? So don't judge it. When you feel triggered, ask yourself, what part of me feels threatened right now? How do I feel like I'm not good enough? I'm not blank enough. Fill in the blank. Is there something that I think is wrong with me? Is this related to a core belief of I'm not lovable? I'm not capable? Are there rules that I've come up with unknowingly, subconsciously for myself to try to cover up and hide? Because I think that if people see who I really am, then they'll think I'm not lovable. Or have I been in hyperachievement because I feel like I'm not capable? I'm trying to overcompensate for it. And maybe they gave me feedback on a project at work. And so now shame is triggered. Oh my God, I'm not capable. And they know I'm not capable. So what is feeling threatened right now? This starts building self-awareness with compassion and not with shame. Then begin journaling or voice noting your thoughts. Not to fix anything, but just to get honest with yourself, because sometimes clarity comes from letting your truth out, even if it's messy, and only you have to see this. Then bring it to someone else. Find a therapist, a coach, a support group, a close friend if you feel like you can be open enough. It's really important to do this in connection with other people. Shame is a social emotion. It goes back to when we were cave people. If people abandon me or excommunicate me from the tribe, then I won't be able to survive, right? I need other people. And so shame was there to be like, you better make sure they like you. Don't be self-centered, be other-centered to survive. And that goes back to, we've talked about this in other episodes where there are coping strategies that we engage in certain environments that actually work in those environments. And we're lucky enough now that we can become self-centered. But back in the day, nope, you need your tribe. So guess what? You're not going to be your authentic self. You're going to keep getting meat from the hunters while you go gather some berries, The whole point of me saying that is shame cannot thrive with other people when you say it out loud. Say out loud the things that you're scared to say. Shame wants you to hide. Mm-hmm. So don't hide, share it. Share it, of course, with people that you trust and who wouldn't judge you, but share it. Healing doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. And other people will normalize that for you when you open up. And then get curious about your patterns, not critical. Where did I learn to react this way? Who taught me that I needed to protect myself? What was I protecting myself from? What did I never get that I needed? Maybe I needed, I love you no matter what. And then practice just one small act of emotion regulation. Take a deep breath before you respond. Take time, take a break. Go for a walk before, after a tough conversation. Take a moment of stillness instead of spiraling. Or maybe, because that would not work for me. For some people it would, to be like, all right, I'm just going to be still, meditate, When I'm spiraling, I'm like, okay, I'm going to distract for a little bit just to get myself grounded, and then I'm going to come back. So everyone's different, but play around. You can distract temporarily. Remember, I always support temporary avoidance because it's skillful when it's intentional. So maybe you need to distract to ground yourself. Maybe you need to do some deep breathing. Maybe meditating works. Maybe movement works. Maybe dunking your head in a bowl of cold water, splashing your face with cold water, taking a cold shower. That induces the dive reflex. But make sure your doctor says that's okay, because if you have, I think it's super low blood pressure, that'll bring your blood pressure down a lot, but it brings down the physiology of that intense emotion. So play around with these different emotion regulation techniques and see what works for you. And then that becomes your little toolkit. And these little shifts can create safety in your body again so that you don't get pulled into the shame. The shame gets a little smaller and you get a little more clear so you can respond in a more skillful way. So in close, I know it can feel vulnerable, even humiliating when you get feedback. Of course, it hits hard, especially when the shame monster, has been ruling your life. You've been following the shame monster's rules, and it's like, oh my God, this is a crisis. A rule was broken. I'm not perfect, or I didn't hide well enough, whatever it is. But if you're still listening right now, it means something inside of you wants more. You want more peace. You want more love. You want emotional freedom. You want to be able to be yourself without shame. You want to be able to actually protect your relationships instead of reacting in a triggered way that harms them. And that desire, that spark is enough to begin. You don't have to do it all today, but you can take one step, and you're not alone in this. This podcast will never be here to shame you, ever. It's here to say there's another way, and you are worthy of it. You are not your mistakes. You are not your defense mechanisms or your triggered reactions. You are not the worst thing you've ever done in survival mode. You are good, you are loved, and you are already healing just by being open to the possibility.
We love it.
Yeah. Thank you for being here with us. I will also say, if the podcast is something that does trigger you and it feels like too much, it feels like, you know what? I'm going to do a little more of that emotion regulation work first before I listen to this again. We 1,000,000,000% support that. Being self-centered means centering your needs. And you might need to take a break. You might need to have this internal boundary of, you know what, I'm going to stop doing these things that I know trigger me and take a break so that I can increase my capacity to hold these triggers when they come up. So maybe you get into therapy and then you come back to us when you're a few sessions in. And then that way, when you get triggered, it's actually really good information because you can bring it to your therapist and talk through it.
I love that idea. And another one that came to me, and this is just my own personal experience, there have been things that have triggered me because I'm hearing them like auditory, but they don't trigger me the same when I read them.
Oh,
there might be other people that have that experience, maybe not. But if you feel like the podcast is triggering by hearing us say this, because hearing it makes it true or whatnot, or just has more intent to you.
Feels more real, yeah.
Yeah. We have written transcripts too.
Yeah. Yep. It's
so
right
check out the transcripts.
Episode notes. I don't know if I think it's probably below the episode notes, but if you scroll down past the summary, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you could literally just read it, and maybe that won't have as intense of a reaction if you're like, man, I don't want to lose the learnings that I'm getting from this, but hearing it is a bit intense for me where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe you go that route.
Yeah. I love that. And also, we're literally always going to be here, That's the thing that I love about the podcast is that you can just listen to it whenever you want. And let us know if this brought anything up for you that you want us to talk more about, or you have any questions. You can always email us. You can go to the Instagram. You'll hear our email and Instagram in a second because we're about to do the outro. So see you later.
Bye.
Love yas. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Follow us on Instagram at selfcentered.pod or connect with us at selfcenteredthepod@gmail.com.
Stay self-centered, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.